know that feel free to put your questions in, as we will be having time at the end. It's a very broad topic, so interested to see all of the things that we can get through in the hour. But if there's something pressing that you would like to ask, feel free to drop that in and we'll make sure to get to it at that point. So let's dive in and introduce you to the panel. So if we can just do a quick fire round where you can just give your name, a little bit about your job title, where you're located, and then a win that you've had, either non-work or work-related, over the last couple of weeks. And I'll start off with who is next to me. So Aaron, over to you.
Yeah, definitely. My name is Aaron. I joined HubSpot 4 years ago as part of an acquisition. I do product partnerships at HubSpot, B2B product partnerships. Before that, I did product partnerships at an iPaaS organization, which technically was our biggest growth driver, because iPaaS is all about integrations, partnerships, etc. So since then, I actually joined HubSpot, and right now I'm focused on EMEA partnerships specifically.
Great, and we'll move on to Sam, as you're right next to Aaron.
Yeah, I'm Samuel. It's up to you. I lead Dream Data's partner program. I've been here for almost 3 years now. I think a win is that recently one of our stats was featured in LinkedIn's they have a little marketing partner section, and they had taken one of our stats and put it at the very top without telling us, and we found out yesterday, and that was a great win. I'm based in Copenhagen, Denmark.
That sounds like an awesome win. And over to Marta.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marta. I'm originally Italian, but I live in Paris, France. I joined Surf as partnership manager, as the first partnership manager, actually 6 months ago, which in startup time, it equals 2 years. This is what I feel like. And I'm managing both tech partners and resellers, affiliates. So everything regarding partnerships is under me. So one win actually, like recently, is that we have sponsored a very good video with one of the biggest Pipedrive partners. So this is our first partner marketing official activity, which I'm quite proud of. So yes, that's it on my side.
That's amazing. And over to you, Jason.
Hello. Thank you. Jason Yarborough, working with Reveal on some of the strategic accounts and building partnerships with those guys and helping their customers become successful within the platform and the tool of account mapping. Prior to that, I was VP of partnerships at Drift and Terminus. So I kind of been around this partner block for a little while. I feel like the old kid in the room now, having fun, having a good time. Recent win is recently launched my own company called Arcadia and got the actual business paperwork about a week and a half or so ago. So officially incorporated as a company, and still working with Reveal, doing some of their problem solving within their customers, and got a good thing going over here, which we'll get to that later.
That sounds amazing, Jason. We look forward to hearing more about that, and congratulations. We are waiting on one more person, so hopefully they will join, just to give a bit more time and hopefully allow a few other people to join us. I know it's very early over in the States. We'll just do one quick run round again. If I could just get a event or podcast, and we can use some self-promotion there if you like. Jason, I'm looking over at you on kind of things that the partner space should be looking at. So any event or kind of podcast that, as a partner specialist, you should be checking out. And if we go around in the same order, that would be great.
Good little tee up there. I'll jump in since I was called out there. Obviously, we've got the Nearbound Summit coming up. November 6th, I believe, is the start date. Pretty bad with dates and times. I'm here, but Nearbound Summit. It's going to be the partner event of the year, the Nearbound event of the year, focusing on sales, products, CS, marketing, all the people that partnerships relates to and touches and helps drive forward. It's going to be a fantastic event full of loaded speakers. Check that out. You got the Nearbound podcast. My wife and I actually have our own podcast called Friends with Benefits. She is also in the partner space. So we launched that. We are now in episode 22 going live tomorrow. It is all about relationships and the purpose behind the relationships that drive businesses forward. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Happy to go next. Of course, my favorite one is Inbound, our own HubSpot event over in Boston. For me specifically, thank you. I guess many of you have been there or at some point will eventually join Inbound as well. So that's amazing to see. My two other favorite events or industry events, SaaS industry events, being SaaS Talk, which actually just happened, I think 2 weeks ago or something. They also just released an edition in the US, Jason, in Texas, I believe, this year, before they did a couple events in Europe as well. And then the other one is SaaSter, which is similar to SaaS Talk as well. They actually made the other way move. So they actually launched in the US, I think San Francisco originally, and then they are also part of our EMEA event organizations as well. So they have a good event in EMEA as well. Two of my favorite events.
Yeah, I have to go with you on that. I have actually the same, Inbound was great. I have to be honest, and also SaaS Talk. Really cool events to network, to connect with both partners and customers. And if I also can recommend an online event, something that we are doing at Surf, we are having this Surf Sesh, short of Surf sessions. So basically, we are doing this every Thursday. We are inviting a sales expert to just share some insights on different sales, but also partner sales related topics. So the next one is actually on November the 2nd with Deerfront. So, yeah.
Awesome. And then over to you, Sam, and then we'll dive into the questions.
So, I mean, I think SaaSter is really good, but to kind of throw a little curveball, maybe we at Dream that we love April Dunford, and I kind of listen and read a lot of her stuff and try to work that into my partnership. And not to reinvent the wheel, because technically what we're doing is, like Jason mentioned, relationships, right? So sales, positioning, but kind of to use what she's putting out there.
Awesome.
Can you say that name again? Who is that?
April Dunford.
April Dunford.
I can also highly recommend.
Writing that one down.
As you can see, we've all got notepads at the ready. There's going to be loads of lessons coming out of today, which is great. So we're going to dive right into the questions. So we're going to start off with, when should a business invest in partnerships, and why should B2B businesses be looking at the world of partnerships? So who wants to take that one?
Just a free for all here. Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy.
But I don't know, if I can go.
Yes,
Martin,
go ahead.
dive right in.
Ladies first.
Well, for me, if I have to be honest, the sooner the better. Every company should start at the very beginning, regardless of the stage, thinking about partnerships. In the end, partnerships, let's not forget that it's relationships, and this is the basics, the core of it. And when you launch a product, already when you're at the very early stages of launching a product, normally what you do is also building potential integrations. So integration doesn't mean partnership, but it's a good start for a conversation to build a partnership, to be present in an ecosystem. So I think that for when we talk about partnerships, which is different from partner programs, it's really important to invest at the very beginning and develop relationships. While, for instance, for partner programs, this is something that can arrive later. I don't see partnerships as specifically related to one specific stage, late stage startups or early stage scale-ups. I really see this as kind of a core for every company. And then partner programs can actually be developed once that you see that you have a big network of partners, of different partners with them, affiliates or some more agencies. And then it makes sense to give it a structure also to make it scalable. And of course, the benefits of building a partner program is really this, giving a partner also clear expectations so that they arrive and they see that there is a structure. You can have flexibility in it, but it's important to have already this organization, both internally and externally. But yeah, definitely partnerships should be the starting point for me for any company.
Yeah, I really like that where you've kind of initiated the difference between partnerships. Doesn't have to start with a partner program. It starts a lot earlier of interacting with different people within your space and learning from that and building those early relationships that can later be kind of reutilized and built into what should be a program later down the line. But we hand over to Jason. Do you want to kind of follow on from Martha there?
I would to build on top of that, I would say that it's kind of when the value that you provide supports it, right? So think about it from a tech standpoint, what we're just talking about here, that when the value that your products the value that your product provides supports the integration, supports the work coming in from your partners to work alongside of you. I'm working with a bootstrap company right now who, hasn't really taken anything public. They have a great product. They have one partner, and they're so imperative to this partner's success that this partner can't, really function without them in the way they want to. So they have a value that provides and that is needed to that partnership. Same thing could be said from a services standpoint when the value that you provide is so instrumental to that partner's success that it's time for you to build that partnership and build more partnerships. So for me, it's all about like how the value that you're providing with your product or your services, whenever you're at that stage and you're ready to launch it, that's when it should happen, when it should launch. Right. And I think, everyone should be focusing on how to build partnerships, especially today when inbound, outbound, everything else is so depleted. And when what we're saying at Reveal, nearbound, surround your buyer from all, circles possible, right? You've got your tech vendors who are surrounding them, your agency partners surrounding them, your influencers that are surrounding them. It's like, go as far and fast as you can. And if you're not bringing those people in the early stages that have some sort of network, you're missing a major bullseye.
Great insight. And Aaron, especially with working within the HubSpot space and within ecosystem and within that marketplace, when do you tend to see kind of partners enter into that ecosystem?
Yeah, any stage basically. In my opinion, I guess we're all very like-minded people. I agree with both of you that you should start investing as soon as possible, or at least strategize about what you want to do with partnerships going forward, be it B2B product partnerships, be it channel partnerships, affiliate partnerships. At HubSpot, we have, I think, 7 or 8 different partnership programs. Our app partnership program is likely the most flexible one. So we don't have a very set in stone partner program either. We try to keep it flexible because that's when you make it possible for both small organizations and big organizations to provide value to your shared customer base, basically, which is what eventually we want to provide to your customers. We want to have them see value with HubSpot, but also the other applications that they use besides HubSpot. I think the reason why I'd like to see people invest early in their partnerships is because these days, companies adopting SaaS organizations or SaaS software, it's rarely that you will win as an individual SaaS company. So you will want to connect with your peers, people that add value to your product, to enhance the accessibility of your solution.
Great. And last but not least, Sam.
Yeah, I think everyone's nailed it on the head, and I think especially for now we have people from Reveal and HubSpot, which are 2 giants. I think there's a little bit more like strategy and where they're going to invest. Where maybe for me and Surf, it's a little more like pretty much any activity we'll do has an ROI, which is positive in most cases, right? Knock on wood. So it's about focusing like your time and effort in the right activity that has the highest ROI right now. And that could be literally going for a coffee at, your partner's place physically. And that relationship delving into something a lot bigger because of this physical meetup. Of course, that's maybe a bit of extreme, but just to kind of prove a point that there's really a big difference in regards to the stages we're at. But I mean, now that we're coming from, I'm a big data guy, see it in the name as well. I mean, we pulled data from 2022 partners, which we led, and there was a huge increase from MQL to SQL percentage and SQL to new biz of the partner-led referrals that came in. Like we're talking double and triple. So like absolutely huge benefit of skipping that trust building stage when someone comes and says, here's a tool for you. I've been your consultant for X amount of years. You've worked with me for X, Y, Z years, and here you should buy this tool. It'll be very good for you. I think that skipping the trust building stage is really beneficial.
That's great. And just before we move on to the next question, it'll be interesting because we are definitely coming from partnerships from different size organizations. What are kind of some of the early activity that you would start with and have seen traction with from, as I say, the partnership activities that you've been doing? And where would you start off?
I'm happy to start this off as well. I think as a real live example, I'd first focus on things I could do as if I'm interested to partner with someone, for example, things that I can do to provide value to the other partner. Don't necessarily rely on the partner to make you successful, but there's a dozen things that you can likely do. Case studies, video content, clear documentation, landing pages, for example, webinars like this one, for example, to educate your own team, educate external people on the particular relationship that you built with another company before going all in and relying on the other party to make you successful. So I think first make sure you do all the right things first and then rely on the partner to see success.
Yes, definitely. Totally agree on that. You need also to understand kind of the specificity of your partners, trying to test different types of activities, trying to see also not expect them to come towards you, but also go towards them. I think this is really important because oftentimes partnerships are interpreted okay, I'm giving you my product to sell and you sell it and you get the revenue. So this is in a nutshell, this was partnerships are in B2B, but actually I don't really think that this is covers partnership overall. So you really need to be active, proactive, and as Aaron was saying, giving them also the material and do everything to succeed. So be it case studies, be it landing pages or work on projects with them. I think this is really important at the beginning.
Right. Sam?
Yeah, I think what Jason mentioned earlier about you had a story about someone who was pretty much codependent, or they were succeeding together because of how dependent all their mutual customers were of each other. I think a good example is HubSpot. If your ICP is defined usually, or pretty much all your ICPs are using HubSpot, if you're targeting that kind of company, then obviously it's we have a saying in Danish, it's right to the right leg, like a football to the right leg, it's perfect for the shot. To set up a partnership there, because obviously if there's a connection there and you're both sharing the perfect mutual ICP customer, then that's something I think is a low-hanging fruit.
Awesome. And Jason, we were just talking around kind of the few activities that you can start with and kind of kick partnerships off. So where's those kind of low-hanging fruit elements there?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I had a bit of an internet situation here. For me, it's always been about using tools like Reveal or Crossbeam and figuring out what's going to be the customer that we're going to target and work with first, and how are they thinking about using other technologies, right? And beginning to identify where the overlap in existing integrations or agency partners, etc., and then pulling those in and running some sort of really quick go-to-market play, like a webinar or an ebook or some blog post or email or something, right? Just getting them built in, to that go-to-market strategy, and how we're testing the market to see what the interest is, before we even go full on, right? There may be something there, there may not be something there. You may find partners that surprise you. You may not find partners that surprise you. And I think it's all about testing it with your customers first and finding out what they want and need from you.
Awesome. And this moves on nicely onto kind of the next question. With the partnership space being very competitive, and the SaaS space with so many different apps entering into the marketplace, so many solutions out there, how do you differentiate from those other providers out there and really provide value, especially if you start to then build out a kind of partner program, and how do you differentiate that and stand out from the crowd?
And
Marta, do you want to start off with that one?
No.
Yeah, Jason, perfect.
Sure. So for me, of the last few gigs I've managed, partnerships have been quite competitive in the space, and it's always been about two things, and I can kind of whittle it down to that: is one or two, resources and relationship. When I've taken over the last two programs, I've talked to every partner and a lot of our customers within the customer base and asked, what's going to make us your most successful partner? What's going to meet your expectations within a partnership? And I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's given us the necessary resources to be successful within this partnership. It's not more rev share. It's not, anything that you would think revenue related. It's teach us, how to do this better. Provide us with the necessary material. Give us the training, make it specific to the partner and not some sort of rinse, wash, repeat that you've found in some corner of high spot. Make it specific to them. And then the other thing is build really great relationships. Like that's something that should not be overlooked. And I've competed against the biggest out there in the ABM space and in the chat space, and typically win because we build strong, purpose-built, value-based relationships. And I think that's seen and felt by the partners when you actually, build that and act on it. So that my two R's, my two things are relationship and a resource.
I really like that. Removing the friction and really building on the relationship. That's awesome.
Absolutely. That's why we built a podcast about it.
Marta, over to you.
Yeah, actually, I totally agree with all these points, because basically, yeah, like, when I started like building partner programs, like this was one recurring question that I had. So how can I make my program like stand out from other partner programs? How can I make it like memorable? Like I had this kind of like idea that I had to make something different. And then I started to talk with partners to explain like some ideas that I had, or like, and I actually had this feedback, like, please don't be creative. So please don't reinvent the wheel. Please don't do like, and I had like some testimonials, like one partner told me about a partner program he was in that had like some sort of gamification, but like very complex with different levels. And he said like, I don't know anymore. Like I'm completely lost in this game. Like they thought we were doing something very, very unique, but then I just got lost and said, yeah, whatever. Like it doesn't make much sense to me. So like keep it simple. Don't reinvent the wheel. Most partner programs in their structure, they are quite similar. And then what you can really change is, like as Jason was saying, like the resources that you give, like make them for specific for the partners. But also like it's really important, and it's something that I'm doing more and more like in Surface, building a narrative with the partners. So we do have our selling proposition. We know like where our strengths are, where we are going as a product, but it's not only a surf narrative, it has to be a surf and a partner narrative. So we have to work on this together to create this go-to-market, this narrative all together. And also something that we have is like a take on challenges. So I think it's really important, like just when partners come with an idea, like it doesn't matter for me the tier they're in. For me, the tier I have to say is just like to manage like a commission and profiles type, but more or less like I give like the same benefits, or the same accessibility to the team, to the surf team, to affiliates, to resellers, solution providers, etc. So they can all have access to the team and to our resources. And if they come with challenges, with projects, I'm very happy to take on independently of what tier they're in, or like without any threshold. Is really like just being open. So having a structure, but also being flexible in the structure.
Yeah, I think I agree. Of course, I also have two things, not as not double R's, but an A and a B. And A, I think it has to be something that's valuable to mutual clients, right? I think that's pretty an obvious one that has to tick the box. Your product has to be good. You can't have a shit product and then go and sell it with a bunch of big partners. And then B, I think this is quite relevant for like consultancies and agencies, like channel partners, but it's more, can they make money of this? Like, can they provide a service off it? Like HubSpot, for example, like how many HubSpot implementation consultancies are there, or Salesforce consulting agents? There's a lot, right? And it's because they can build hours on them. And I think it's very nice to think that, HubSpot's all partnerships is all flowers and roses and only relationships, and no one cares about money. But at the end of the day, it is also money that's a huge factor, and this like billable hours or service offering.
Yeah, to build on top of all of you, basically at HubSpot, we likely take a slightly similar approach, but at the same time a different approach as well. With 1,500 different partners, we do see that persistency is key. For at least partners who want to work with HubSpot, you need to be consistent. You need to be extremely good at what you do. Your product needs to be great, to what you were saying as well. And a couple examples, like Aircall, from the start, they invested in partnerships. Even though they have a good product, they invested in product partnerships with Salesforce, HubSpot, all like customer success solutions are also integrated with Aircall. And the way they did it with HubSpot was being very persistent with our sales teams, customer success teams, trying to provide value first before you extract value. So Aircall has built a great little relationship, to your point, Jason, as well, relationship building with HubSpot, and is likely the top of mind solution for calling with HubSpot because of that. At the same time, at HubSpot, you need to sometimes be able to not reinvent the wheel, but you want to stand out sometimes. So, for example, ClickUp released their new integration with HubSpot, and they promoted it through a song on Spotify, which is pretty unique, and it gets attention inside HubSpot from sales, customer success, and other people as well, which gets you some relationship building.
Awesome. So if we now move on to recruitment and enablement being such an important part of building great partnerships, what are some of the kind of tips and tricks that you can give that will smooth out and remove the friction at this part of the partnership cycle?
I mean, I can jump in again. Can always talk about something. I think in my experience, like enablement, your partnerships rise and fall off your level of enablement. And again, like going back to that one of those R's, resource. I mean, you can provide the level of enablement and support to show them the path, like that sets you apart again. And so for me, I've built all sorts of different tracks and enablement and methods to ensure their success. At one stop, I built out enablement sessions for the marketing team, sales team, and other partnership teams, so they can better understand like how to position and sell and be more successful within the program and the technology. And so making the enablement sessions and the path to value for them very clear. Right. And I think Marta was talking earlier about making it not complex or confusing, but making it very simple, very clear to follow, very easy to be successful within the program. And I think the more that you provide those valuable resources and really invest the time into ensuring their success and showing them that path to value, I think most programs don't show kind of what that path to value and path to revenue or success or whatever buzzword you want to throw in there looks like. Then it becomes super easy for them to follow and super engaging, right? And then once you begin to build something like that and you begin to show your partners what the path to success looks like, word will get out. You won't have to do too much on the side of recruiting, in my opinion, or my experience. But I've never built the programs that have hundreds of partners, right, where we're just trying to recruit. I've always kept a very narrow, very simple approach to what I'm building and how we're recruiting.
Nice.
And at HubSpot, about recruiting maybe as well, at HubSpot, we of course recruit HubSpot built integrations. We want to also work with the LinkedIns, the Microsofts, the Googles, and we recruit them also based on customer feedback, but at the same time also based on where we want to go with our products. So not just what customers tell us, but where we want to go as a solution. At the same time, we recruit a lot of partners as well and try to convince them to build with HubSpot, try to show the value if they build with HubSpot. And in EMEA, we actually have an interesting use case where there's lots of local accounting solutions, very practical, in their area, for example, an accounting solution in France, Germany, the UK, but they don't always see the value of integrating with a CRM. In reality, there's lots of value. So in that regard, we try to recruit these partners and have them invest or work with us to provide a B2B product partnership, basically, and solve for the customer in that way.
Yeah, for me, like recruitment and enablement have been like quite central, like in the whole strategy itself. Like it's like there are lots of like questions around it. What's the main, especially like for the channel part, because we have like different process for the tech or product partnerships. But like for the channel, it was really about how to recruit these partners, how to enable them, like what's the best way. Actually, there is not like a magic recipe, so it's about trying different things, especially for the recruitment. I try like first, like I said, okay, we have a cool brand, we have a good product, let's start like cold outreaching. Big mistake, but I will move quite like away from it quite soon. And then I started like to work more with tech partners, so like with channel sales managers, with the account executives, so trying to get like these intros. But actually I've started recently like another strategy which I see it's actually working. So instead of like going to the tech partners and working with their teams, which is something that we are still doing, it's also recruiting partners through other partners. So like I have partners that are really fan of Surf, they're using it. So they were first customers and then they became partners, which for me it's the ideal situation, because they already know the value, and they actually offer to recruit other partners to say, hey, I know other consultants. We chat like every now and then. We either we work together on leads or we pick each other leads, but we are in contact, so I can talk about your product. And this is how I'm actually recruiting partners now, like it just by using, let's say, like other partners. So this is something that I see that it has been working a lot. And probably like in the next chat I will tell you more about the results of it. Now we are testing it. And for the enablement, I have probably like one like unpopular opinion about like in the enablement piece is the certifications. I really don't like certifications. I don't see the the use of it. And then okay, of course, like our product is quite simple. So like compared to a Salesforce or a HubSpot where you have like it's a huge product and you have like lots of different parts. Ours is very simple. And I see also like sometimes there are these partner programs where there are like enablement sessions and then the certifications part, as if it was like a university course. I'm giving you all the resources, as we were mentioning before, like partner focused. I give you like all the enablement material that you can need. You can ask me for more material, but I will not like test my partners, to be honest. And this is something that I know that like lots of other companies have different opinions, but for me the certification part is it's just a blocker. And partners have to sell at the end of the day, so it's not the priority to pass my test.
Are you, maybe a quick question on that, Marta, are you referring to certification of your partners in terms of educating them on your particular solution? All right.
Yeah, I don't have much to add on the recruitment aspect, but on the enablement aspect, I do think it's a little unpopular opinion, Marta, but that's also because, like you said, I mean, we have a really complex product, and it's not like I want to give them badges for that, but I do want to ensure that they're at a certain standard before I also say, yes, these guys are partners of ours, because in some way we're associating ourselves with them. And if they go on and help our clients and then end up doing a terrible job, then suddenly it also, it looks bad on us. But yeah, I mean, it does depend on the complexity of the product 100%. I don't have anything else.
No, that's great, and definitely does yeah, as you mentioned, Sam, the complexity of the product itself, and there's definitely different ways to approach it, whether it's certification or whether one of the cool tips that I heard recently on a podcast, and I'll have to link it in the chat afterwards of which podcast it came from, but doing a 4-4-4 model. So 4 where you run the demos and training sessions with the partners, clients, 4 where it's a bit of both, and then 4 where you're just going through coaching and you're on the sidelines just giving them tips and hints, and then they're kind of free to roam after that. So loads of different ways of looking at it, but interesting to see the different options that are there. So if we move on to kind of as you build out the partnership kind of model within your organizations, what are kind of some of the main OKRs, KPIs as partner specialists that we should really be focusing on and really having as our North Star?
I think it likely is different for each type of program. Like if you have channel partnerships, it might be directly revenue related. If you have affiliate partnerships, it might be directly volume, like leads related. But in my world, in product partnerships, we mainly look at customer satisfaction. The way we try to measure this is in terms of how many installs does an integration has, how many attached MRR does an integration has. But those aren't necessarily going to tell you if the integration or the partnership is good. So we also look at activation and retention. So when actually someone or a customer of ours installs a particular integration, for example, Dream Data, Reveal, or Server, Dealfront as well, we look at what happens after they install the integration. Are they seeing more value with HubSpot? Are they retaining longer? Are they actually actively using the integration through API calls, etc.? So we keep close track of all of that at HubSpot. So not just installs and MRR, but activation and retention.
Yeah, I think for channel partners, I mean, what we look at is influenced and attribution towards referrals, right? And you can do that manually if you have a nice data platform like Dream Data. But yeah, looking at both sales accepted leads as well. So like these leads that are coming from these partners, right? Are they actually being accepted by your salespeople? And then what's the conversion rate further down the line? Like, is the partner that is just feeding you, crap? And then revenue as the ultimate goal. I also think like co-marketing activities, as difficult as that is to measure, but I think it's like a qualitative measure. Like if you're doing webinars like this, obviously you probably have a list, Stefan, but still, just regardless that you've done this event with us is a nice touch. And then tech partner wise, I'm thinking also like listings on marketplaces. And like with the HubSpot one, I know we can also see, how many are actually downloading it through HubSpot, and we can see how much traffic we're generating from there. So that's also a mix of both.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think like you guys listed already like a good, like a really big part of like the main OKRs that normally like we should track. Also because like partnerships is sales, is product and marketing at the same time. So like the OKRs go into like these different boxes, and yeah, like as you were mentioning already, like for the integrations, like for me, it's like not only like we are, or like internally we are tracking like the number of integrations that we launch, the adoption rate of those integrations. We are seeing the if there is like a high churn rate, or like if the adoption is quite smooth, and the growth also. So like these are like some metrics that we track for tech partners. Like for sales, as you were mentioning, like it's really about the revenue in the end, like the revenue the partners bring in, or the influence. And then like of course the marketing, what we are looking at is the number of leads that are generating through co-marketing, and also like their conversion. So if there are always like good leads coming from our marketing activities, because it also helps us then reorganizing what we are doing with partners. Probably like we are not targeting the right audience, or we're not doing like the right activities. So like this data is quite important to look at. And as KPI for partner specialists, I know there are like normally like there are the classic ones, like the number of partners onboarded, the number of leads brought in by partners. Like at the moment, like for me personally, since we have launched very recently the partner program, so like these numbers, like we can see like an increase, but it's something that is still growing. what I'm really interested in as a KPI for me is the monthly growth, or like just see like instead of a year-to-year growth, or it's month-to-month growth, or a quarter-to-quarter growth. So trying to see how actually like the program that we put in place, the activities that we are doing, all the actions that we are taking now that we are really focusing on this channel, how they are impacting the growth. So if there is an increase in the number of leads, but also if I see like more activities, more activation. So it's really related more to this comparison, like from one period to the other.
Now those are all great, and I'd definitely hit the retweet button on those. The only two I would add from my perspective, like my experience, and I guess they'd fall more under kind of OKRs, a little bit of KPIs. A couple of unique factors I've built in before is like I'm a big fan of using mutual action plans, especially for your top partners, your top strategic partners. So I've made that, the number of mutual action plans that need to be rolled out each quarter, kind of an OKR, KPI, whatever we want to call it. So if you've got, 20 partners, you should have at least maybe 8 top strategic or tiered or whatever. So kind of the expectation should be 8 mutual action plans that we could see and kind of base everything off for the quarter. And then another fun one I've run in the past is like what I call experiments or projects, you could call it. So say a partner specialist or a partner account manager on your team has an idea. Hey, we should do this. Great. You now own it. And that's going to be one of your OKRs for the quarter. So like work on this experiment, make our program better, take this idea, build it out, where you need help, bring it to me, bring it to the team, and we'll help bring this to life. So it's a way to kind of continually improve your program and give some ownership to your partner account managers, as well as, have something unique and fun to base their success off of.
I'm really hoping that Topi and Carol and my team aren't listening to that one, because I know I'll be owning a lot of projects. So. No,
be careful what ideas you bring to the table is what I always say.
No, that's awesome. So as we know, and Jason, we've definitely heard from your podcast, Nearbound is here. It's here to stay. We have companies such as HubSpot and Google now talking about targeting 100% partner attached. So what ways are you starting to kind of implement Nearbound, or what kind of ways are you thinking about implementing Nearbound in the future?
I would say using Reveal, or maybe just
a lot of good shout outs for Reveal today.
No, like what I'm doing right now, actually, I have to say, like, I've started like using Reveal. It's like already like at the very beginning, what I said like when I arrived in Surf was, okay, we need to have Reveal. Like we need to do like account mapping. We really need to start already like having this mindset to use the tool and yeah, to really like actively use it, not just to have it there and do some like basic account mapping, but really actively use it with our partners. And I have to say, this is like a shout out to Aircall, because they're doing a great job there. We are launching like now soon an integration. We launched the version 1 and the version 3 is on the way, and we have already started like even before actually the official go to market, the official launch of the integration. We are already sharing the database. We're already sharing the data, so we have started already working on some leads together. So I can ping my sales team, like if they have an open deal with an Aircall customer, I can ping them so that they can just start asking for the use case, for instance, and having like a different conversation with the customer. And I can see that it has really an influence, because the customers then they see that there is an actual like a preparation behind that. We are really getting like information on their use cases, and we can really build the case for them. So this is like the best usage that we are doing so far. So we are looking into implementing this with other partners. But yeah, this is like the start. So I have to say, like we are at the very start. So I'm eager also to hear how you guys are doing the co-selling and the Nearbound. But this is like I've already seen the benefits like from a very early stage.
Yeah, happy to go next. And maybe Jason, you need to share a discount code with the people who are listening to adopt Reveal.
But I'm on LinkedIn. I got you, people.
I'm a big fan of Reveal. We were struggling some time ago with overlapping solutions, and Reveal really helped us out. And since we started to adopt Reveal with our app partners, basically, we've been very mindful about rolling this out to people, because it's still, as an enterprise organization, lots of valuable data that you're sharing with other companies. So we want to be mindful of the execution. But it's an amazing tool. We have some very cool partners using it already, and the initial results are really, really, really valuable, with partners seeing 4x in booked meetings opportunities, and regarding to HubSpot specifically, seeing 2x in monthly installs. So that's pretty, in terms of activation of our customers, that's really valuable, because the more integrations that our customers eventually adopt, the more likely they are going to stay with HubSpot. And especially from start to finish, to what you were saying as well, Marta, you can adopt Reveal before even you start partnering with a company, and help them scope or help you understand what the value of a partnership could look like from your shared customers perspective, but also expanding your target market or growing into different markets, for example. So I'm a big fan of Reveal. The only thing that we are very mindful of is the execution. We want to make sure that our partners are using the data in the right way. So we're very close in touch with them to make sure that's happening. But very bullish.
That's crucial, right? And to kind of build on top of that, it's one thing to start working out with your partners, but I think where the real success and kind of launch and implementation comes from turning it internal. Like for me, for Nearbound to be extraordinarily successful, it's got to be fully implemented into your field team's daily activities. Right. At Nearbound, we believe that 33% of all pipeline and revenue should be coming from your partners, right? So 33% from inbound, 33% from outbound, and Nearbound. But in order for that 33% to happen with Nearbound, the team has to understand how to run those motions, how to run those plays, campaigns, etc. Typically, if I'm in a head of partnerships role, I'm spending the majority of my time working with the internal team, sales leaders, C-levels, talking to the executives about partners, what they bring to the table, providing enablement and training, working with the marketing team, showing them the data. So the beautiful thing about Reveal is like you can push that into your current tech stack, right? Work with your marketing team to show them what the overlap looks like, what the data is, where the customer prospect opportunity overlap is, where the partners, market opportunity is, so they understand like what the overall opportunity to work with a partner is. Most marketing teams are thinking of pulling a partner in at the end stage of a campaign to drive more leads, when they should be thinking first to get more out of it long term. Sales, begin to work with them on the enablement, how to work with the partners, how to really understand what a partner brings to the table with the 3 I's that we talk about at Nearbound: intel, influence, and intros. How do you get those out of the partners, train them on that mindset and that mentality, and then work with them on building out the sales plays around Nearbound so they can begin to run those plays on their own. When you start doing that, your sales teams begin to prioritize the accounts that are working with partners, and that begins to prioritize the partners that your team should be working with and build strategy with and go to market plays with. So when you really get into it and launching it within your team, it makes them more successful, and it'll make your partners way more successful. And you begin to identify the right partners. And then you can begin using a tool like Reveal, going back to the last question of recruitment. When you look inside of Reveal to understand like what new partners you should be working with, now that you've got a solid fluid motion running, you can begin to identify those based off the overlap counts inside of Reveal. So then you're running a full Nearbound play, internal and external.
Yeah, one thing I noticed as well is executive buy-in to basically to what you were saying, Jason, as well, to have the plays roll out across the whole organization, basically.
Absolutely, so imperative.
But it's a huge task, and I know for someone like Marta and me, like we're one-man bands, it's almost like we know the potential, but it's really difficult to do on your own with so many other ponds that need to be dried up first. I also want to shout out, don't hate me, Jason, but Crossbeam is also great. Reveal and Crossbeam together, I think, are important to have, because I found some partners actually say, no, we only use Crossbeam, US based, or European saying we only use Reveal. And so being on both is really important, and having it set up, which doesn't take long. but having it set up so that you are able to connect and see the overlap is really important, and it's also free. So it's like it's a no-brainer.
I think you're right. I mean, we're at a stage now where like you almost have to have both, right? And I think that's good for the market, good for the category. And we have customers that are, customers of both. We have some that are on one freemium, one paid, and both freemium, whatever. So, there's people who get to pick and choose what they want. They're both great platforms. I've used both extensively. So I can speak to both if anybody has any questions about what they both look like.
Just as a quick follow-up question, hopefully not put you on the spot too much, Jason, but for smaller teams with one person, what would be kind of a really easy, quick win, like a near-bound play that they can just implement just to show that early success without having to tackle too much and kind of just get the needle moving?
The small team with just one person, meaning like one salesperson?
One partnership person that's trying to drive the nearbound motion into their kind of sales teams that might still also be small. Let's say 5, 10 kind of in the sales team. You're trying to drive more of a nearbound play.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a look at the customer base. See what the customers are doing and valuing from their partner's perspective. From your partner's perspective, how are they using them? Right. Begin to dig into the data. Right. I'm sure that Sam's got some great data you can dig into from a perspective like what integrations look like, what is driving success, what's working, and then begin to push the gas on that. Like when I took over partnerships at Terminus, we just had one partner person. Right. So we had to dig into the data. What's crucial, what's necessary for our customers. How can we begin to do more there? How can we begin to invest more time and energy there? Right. So like we had a really great partnership with a certain technology. How do we begin to build more into that and get more integrations connected? Right now, retention is the new acquisition, right? So how do you focus on that play? How do you focus on upsell within your customer base? I know, some large companies out there that 90% of their revenue right now is coming from retention and upsell. It's like, how do you begin to focus on that, begin to upsell within your customer base based off the integration that you're able to provide and do more within? It's like, for me, it's looking at the data first, understanding what's making the customer move, what's making the customer, to use Aaron's words, what's driving customer satisfaction, and beginning to train your team on that, and like why the partner is here. Most salespeople are going to ask, well, what's in it for the partner, right? Why should I work with a partner? What's in it for the partner, right? It's either going to be retention, upsell, some sort of rev share agreement, or the opportunity to go further, faster together.
Awesome. I definitely need to listen back through that and take a few notes from that. And good to see Martha was as well going through that as well. So awesome. Thanks for that, Jason. So we're going to jump over to some questions as we've had a few coming in as we've been speaking. So Ankit, thanks for your questions. So he has written, how to select your channel partners, what strategies can you suggest to keep them active with referrals / resells throughout?
Nice one. Probably like one thing, like for the selection of the channel partners, you always need like to keep your ICP in mind. I know that like at the beginning, like especially when we launch partner program where we start like doing partnerships, like what we normally do is like trying to get as many partners as possible, start to just to start having them in your network. Then normally like on the long run, you can see like those who are really like the good fit for you, and then others that just are not the right fit. So this is something that I know that at the very beginning, especially like in smaller companies, like for instance, like at Surf, like we try like this is the first instinct, and then like time will tell. But like already for the selection, I would say always look at the ICP. So if your ICP are small businesses, if it's like between 2 and 5 users, probably I wouldn't I wouldn't go to partners that resell to large enterprises. So like it might work, but it's not normally the right ICP. So I would say this is the starting point. And activation, that's always like the challenging part. So we were also like discussing before, like how to engage with the partners. So like of course enablement is a big part of it. So you need to make sure that partners know your solution, but also like they can see the value. So it's really about like being there for them, I think, like, and try to build, and also like we will focus on revenue, as Sam was saying before. So like not only doing like activities like just for the sake of it, for creating like this beautiful partnership, but then that has no revenue. Like there are also goals that have to be like cleared out, and you have to work towards these goals that have to make sense for the partner.
I think the question on keeping them active is a great question, and one that a lot of people struggle with. I've found, like, going back to those mutual action plans I was talking about, a lot of partner teams, account managers, whatever you want to call it, will get on a call and have kind of no formalized strategy, formula of what they're going to talk about during that call. It's more like, okay, what do you got? What are you working on, kind of thing. And there's no point to the call. It's a waste of time most often. But if you have a mutual action plan that you're able to work off of, or a partner growth plan, whatever you want to call it, some sort of plan that you put together at the beginning of the quarter. What are the opportunities we're going to have for this quarter? What's currently in pipe? What are we working on from a go-to-market perspective? What do you need from us as far as a resource, and who's going through training? You have certain items you can begin to go through and check off during those calls, and you begin to keep them engaged, keep it moving, keep it progressing forward as you're checking on all the things that are that you've identified to be of the utmost importance for that quarter, for that year, or whatever. So I'm a big fan of using those plans. So, and you have something that you can recall every call, all the time you get on a call with a partner. You've got notes in there from the last call, notes taken for this call, and you've got plans and projects you're working on for the quarter. You can help keep pushing those forward and keeping each other accountable on what you've committed to. Mm-hmm. And for anybody who wants to kind of see what any of those mutual action plans that I've built in the past, like, just drop me a DM on LinkedIn. I've got loads of crap in my Google Drive that we can look at.
I'll be sending you one.
Yeah, same. So is that something that you would have within the kind of partner management system, or within a portal, or is that just something that you kind of having within Google Sheets and you just bringing up within calls? How does that normally get introduced?
Yeah, sure. In the times that I've used a PRM or a partner portal, I've always kept it in there and assigned to the partner, and frequently updated. It's nice if there's some sort of Google integration along with those as well. So I typically do everything within a Google Drive, and I share it with them so they have full access to it, and it's updated in real time, obviously, and something that we both pull up during every call to take a look at, to see where we're at, track the progress, et cetera, et cetera.
That's awesome. I like the idea of keeping that honesty there and keeping that momentum there within that sheet. So that's a really great idea.
It's all about the accountability.
Definitely.
I think it was touched on earlier, I can't remember by who, but giving value, like, constantly before asking. Like, give value and then give some more, and then maybe you can ask. But if not, then give some more value. Always give before you ask. And I think if you have a downtime where you think this agent or this channel partner is not really responding, then give them some value. And then hopefully that human on the other side will be like, fuck, Sam again. Constantly he's giving me all this good stuff, I gotta give him something back, right? And if not, then at that point, then I don't think it's worth it.
Great. So we've got got about 2 minutes before we wrap up. So try and squeeze one last one in there. So is quantity or quality more important in partnerships? So what things should we be valuing?
I was mentioning before, like, for me, it's like really quality, to be honest. Like, I mean, at the beginning, it's normal, like, that when you're building the program, when you're like starting, you put the accent on the quantity. It's kind of natural. Like, you don't probably, like, you create like your IPP, and you are not sure, like, you're testing out, like, that. For at least I'm sharing my own experience. Like, I see that then you tend to recruit partners, but then on the long run, you see, like, those that are really a good fit, and then you just move forward, like, with those quality ones. So for me, like, it's always like quality on the long run.
Yeah, I'm happy to add to that as well. Like, in terms of product partnerships at HubSpot, we also focus on quality first, before you focus on quantity. It's unlikely we're going to work with solutions that don't provide quality. So we don't also want to have an effect if you're promoting a not qualitative solution to a large audience, that customers are unhappy or not seeing the right value that we want to provide them with. So I think quality first and quantity second.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, I've always been a fan of narrow strategic focus within your programs. Especially where it's most important to the company. Like, if you get too spread out, you kind of dilute what you're able to do, I think, especially if you're like, I've always worked with kind of the smaller ISVs. I've never been at your level of an alliance, Aaron, but for me, it's always been about, let's pick the customers that are going to make the biggest difference. Let's pick the tech partners that have, the most, crucial success to our customers from an integration standpoint, and those partners that work with that surrounding ecosystem, right? So if it's Drift, it was Drift, 6sense, SalesLoft. What are the channel partners that work inside of that little ecosystem and that know it extraordinarily well and can make us all successful? And identifying where those partners are and really, work with those work within your tech integration ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly. Something that we do on our end as well is we help partners to identify the right channel partners, for example. So we help integration partners to identify the right channel partners. We don't want them to waste a bunch of time on like cold calling a bunch of channel partners. Instead, we try to save them some time and make it valuable.
Partnerships through partnerships, love it. Well, great. That brings us to the end of this session. So thank you so much to all of you for joining, and look forward to when we have our next different session. So look out for that. It'll be coming out soon. So thanks all, and look forward to seeing you again soon.